Okay, hello everybody. How's it going? Just one or two last things to set up, and then we are going to be ready to get underway with this game, and I think that's it. So yeah, welcome everybody. Must be some Pokemon magic. Well, we'll see once the bitrate steps up, Poos, because yeah, it'll get a little bit dicier once we actually start going. But hey everybody, welcome to the AMD Dota 2 Premier League. I am Basekip. This is round 2 of the main event, and this is going to be TongFu against Invasion. It's a best of 1 match to see who's going to continue to advance to try and get their piece of the pie, that great $5,000 cash, which is the total prize pool for this event. I'm Basekip. I'm excited to be here bringing you guys this game. Again, this is a best of 1. TongFu probably the favorites, having recently been invited directly to the main event at the International. So looking forward to getting a glimpse of them here. And looks like we're just hoping that buy from Invasion is going to load in, then we're going to be able to get underway with this one. Again, guys, sorry about the resolution options. I've only got 720p. I'm not partnered with Twitch. I'm going to be trying to stream as much as I can over the next couple of weeks and then push for partnership then. And looks like buy is going to connect, so we're going to be able to get underway. So I'm excited about this. I hope you guys are too. Nice. So let's get underway with the draft. Admittedly, I'm not that familiar with Team Invasion. I do know quite a bit about TongFu, so we'll see how this goes for me. And again, bear with me guys, I've been a little bit busy and haven't been doing as much casting as I would like over the last couple of days, but I think everything should be absolutely fine. So Nakes is going to be the first ban. Well, Batrider is the first ban. Nakes going to be the response, and straight into the Magnus. And Nyx more than likely here, though there is a Keeper of the Light as well, along with potentially a Wisp. Worth noting that it is a best of 1. The sides were determined by the team's placement in the bracket. So the top team was Radiant and the bottom team was Dire, I believe. And it's just random as far as first pick is concerned. So it's ended up with Invasion having the first pick this match. So we're going to have Nyx as the ban, Lone Druid, the immediate pickup from Invasion. No wasted time so far. I haven't seen anybody dipping into reserve time, so seeing the Lone Druid, I have to wonder what the response is going to be for TongFu. With the Lone Druid, you always know, okay, they're going to try and put him solo somewhere, maybe try and go aggressive. And TongFu looks like they've got a game plan. They're going to pick up Shadow Demon and Dragon Knight, and Invasion, they know exactly what they're doing. They're going to pick up Rubik and Juggernaut. It's looking like a very sort of all-in pushy strategy from them. And more than likely going to be soloing that Lone Druid either on top or on the off lane. Though given that they do already have Rubik and Juggernaut, I think they're probably going to look to take this one aggressive. And TongFu, they're going to turn the aggression straight back around, picking themselves up a Gyrocopter. So both teams with a setup support and both teams with a ton of damage. And yeah, so both of them are looking for one of probably Lina or Leshrac. I think Invasion would absolutely love to have Leshrac given how pushy their lineup is at the moment, so TongFu probably not going to hand it over to them. First pick is going the way of Invasion after this phase, so they can probably try and push that one through. Looks like it is going to be, well, I'm going to guess solo mid DK, though I'm not actually 100% sure. I think Gyrocopter a little bit stronger in the tri-lane, going to be able to deal with the Juggernaut just that little bit better. And yeah, no, sorry guys, there aren't any lower qualities. If you read the FAQ, Quinn Karos, I mentioned that, yeah, I'm not partnered with Twitch, so you can't choose any lower resolutions. I'm sorry about that one. Clockwork's into the ban from Invasion along with a Chen, and TongFu going to choose to remove the Puck. So we're still looking for a mid for Invasion, another solo for TongFu, and then a support for each of them. Keeper of the Light's going to be the ban here for TF. Darkseer notably does remain in the pool. And the other day we saw a team kind of get blindsided a little bit by a last pick Darkseer. I think kind of forgetting about him. Not a terrible solo against the Lone Druid either. So a potential option here for TongFu. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Yeah, and as people are saying. Okay, so we've got a Chen ban.
10 seconds remaining.
Invasion, I think more than likely going to be trying to aggressively try and lane this. We're probably going to be forced into seeing some unusual supports, though both teams might just try and trade here and pick up one each now. So Leshak's going to be banned, and I think TongFu just get rid of the. I think TongFu get rid of the Lina in response. Not sure if they want to be playing against it. Though leaving it in would mean that Invasion would probably take it, and then they could get maybe something like a Jakiro in response. But okay, TongFu, they're going to choose to ban out the Tinker here. So we've still got Lina in the pool, we've still got a couple of good supports. I thought we were going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel a little bit more, but TongFu turning their attention a little bit more towards banning those mids. So yeah. What else have we got going on? No real interesting interactions to talk about at the moment. The other day, forgot about the fact that Tiny's toss cancels Blade Fury. That was an interesting one for me, so thanks to the people in chat who reminded me about that one. Jakiro is going to be the pickup from Invasion. I mentioned Leshak as a support in terms of his pushing power, but Jakiro no slacker either. The Liquid Fire, even just a single point early on, is going to make those pushes really easy, especially with the Juggernaut and the Lone Druid as well. Invasion looking to have a hell of a time here, so TongFu, they're going to pick themselves up that Darkseer, just looking for that last support, and Invasion, we're going to see their mid coming out right about now. There is still a Queen of Pain in the pool of all heroes, and the extreme mobility does synergize extremely nicely with this kind of push strategy that they're going for. They do need someone to be the initiator in these fights, otherwise they're going to have a little bit of trouble, I think, potentially against the DK, and especially with a Gyrocopter and a Darkseer. But Invasion, okay, it's going to be even more push from them. Really all-inning this one. They're going to pick themselves up a Luna, so not a whole lot of tools to get behind the towers. It's just going to be a slow-moving war machine here, and hopefully going to be able to just get a whole bunch of towers, get a whole bunch of gold before that TongFu teamfight can come online, before Darkseer can get too relevant in the game. And a lot of this is going to come down to the tri-lane.
10 seconds remaining.
And TongFu rounded up. What's the support going to be? I feel like Lina is still a really solid pick here. If Cuddle was there, obviously, he would be great. They don't necessarily need too much anti-spam. They do have a Darkseer, they do have a Gyrocopter to counter-push. And their strength kind of is the team fight at the moment, so we might see them just buff that up a little bit more. Though it would be nice to see them get just a little bit more lockdown to synergize with the Shadow Demon and the Gyrocopter for that tri-lane. And for pretty much the first time in this draft, you're going to be dipping into reserve time. So a pretty quick one. Looks like Invasion, they know what they're doing. They sort of came in here with a bit of a game plan. Again, it's best of one, so going for something like this, really all-in push strategy where it's not necessarily so much. It does come down to your execution, but also, you know, just by virtue of the draft, you can be off to a pretty good start. So we'll see how this is going to work out for them. Again, I think the tri-lane needs to go okay. The Luna and Lone Druid should do fine in their lanes. I'm not 100% sure about the Luna versus DK matchup. I feel like Luna, she's not really all that ranged. But TongFu, they're going to pick themselves up a Silencer. So, going to be running that Silencer as a support. Not really all that strong as far as supports go. Could be a Farmer, Gyrocopter could be the support, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And we're going to jump ourselves into the game to see who is playing what and continue to scope out this game. So over on the side of Invasion, we have Bai playing the Rubik. Dan is going to be on Luna. Sheng is going to be on Jakiro. We have Snow on the Lone Druid, and that leaves Jessica to play the Juggernaut. Over on the side of TongFu, we have Banana playing the Silencer. King J is going to be on Darkseer. San Cheng on the Shadow Demon. Hal is going to be on Gyrocopter, and that leaves. Oh, no, that's everybody. We're just waiting on. Oh, there's Moo. He's just hiding out of the bottom of the camera. He's going to be playing the Dragon Knight. So, just going to be waiting on Banana to reconnect. Then we're going to start being able to talk about starting items. And start talking about how these lanes are probably going to play out. The nice thing for the Darkseer is that he's more than likely going to be on this top lane. He can look to head behind the wave, keep intercepting it, keep playing around with the jungle a little bit. Lone Druid can pull off some shenanigans of his own, but Darkseer should will hopefully be able to get quite a quick mech up on that top lane. And we've got some predictions for level 1 Roshan on the way. It could potentially be for Invasion. I could definitely see it. And then this sneaky pause, well, we'll see. Maybe TongFu are going to think it out. They've got some pretty good level 1 teamfight of their own. And especially if Luna's going to pick up something like the Aura, either Curse or Last Word, could be pretty good at level 1. And what have we got going on? Everybody is speculating. I keep forgetting what it's like to cast behind 2 minutes of delay. I'm very used to being live with the viewers, so I'm not going to pay too much attention to chat, but do tell me if things go weird. If there's any frame drop, if I happen to accidentally mute myself somehow, I'll make sure that I will repair that as quickly as I possibly can. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're still just waiting around for reconnects. This is the time where I curse the fact that I don't have a co-caster with me to crack knock-knock jokes and all that sort of thing, but I'm just going to have to get more organized, get some more co-casting practice in, and find some people that I want to co-cast with. There are definitely people who have offered. I just haven't been diligent enough in getting them to come on and practice the dynamic. I'm honestly not used to it, and my co-casting isn't as great. Though I'm not saying that my actual casting is that amazing either. And Cloud X looks like he's gonna have a very quick disconnect. So everybody is saying level 1 Roche, go 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 go. And I'd be looking forward to it if it was going to be the case. But again, still pretty good level 1 teamfight on TongFu, and they may just catch a wind of this if it's what Invasion are going to be going for. I mean, they've got the survivability for sure. I think it comes down to a question of damage, though the Lunar Aura is going to help out a lot in that regard. Global Silence turns off Blade Fury. It doesn't. I'm more than 99% sure that it doesn't. Because I made a video about Juggernaut, and I made a video about Juggernaut's Blade Fury specifically, and people were like, look, Global Silence cancels it, and I was like, I checked and it didn't, so someone's gonna have to clarify that for me. But yeah. So we are still waiting. This has been a bit of a trend for this tournament. Games don't really seem to start on time ever. We're now half an hour past when the game is due to be underway, so we have already gotten through the draft. But everything is always delayed, but we're always used to it, guys. It's Dota, and we all just need to have a little bit of patience. This Miley Cyrus fan 298 guy, he's just having a field day in chat. These guys. Everybody's having a laugh. I agree, Kelvin, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about what needs to happen on this bottom lane for TongFu's kind of weird tri lane to go really, really well, and what Invasion are going to try and do as well. TongFu could try and dodge the tri lane. If they do that, they're going to lose their tower very quickly, however, and that's going to give a lot of space for Invasion to go and do things in other lanes. They may not necessarily want to take the tower that early, but again, I don't think TongFu dodging the tri lane buys them that much time. It is nice if you're on the Radiant side to try and go top with your tri lane, since you can obviously get some pulls going in this camp. So it's not as bad as being a dire aggressive tri lane, where you've got no access to any sort of additional experience, and the Radiant safe lane definitely a lot safer for them. Well, the Radiant safe lane definitely the safer of the two. Can you see this in-game for free? Unfortunately, you cannot. It's a $3 ticket. There's still plenty of games left. The rest of the tournament will be resolved within the next week, I think. But if you guys have the time and if you want to support the competition, then do remember to do so. Oh, and a reminder that so the Dota Talk people, the guys who are organizing this tournament, they are running a little raffle on the 10th of May. It's very similar to the one that was just run to win a whole trip to the International 3. So all you need to do is have Raid Call downloaded, installed, and you need to be in the relevant channel on a particular time on the 10th of May, and you'll go into the draw, assuming that you're in the SEA region, in the SEA sort of oceanic region, and you'll go into the draw to win that whole dream package to the International 3. So if you guys want to check that out, I think it's on the Dota Talk Facebook at the moment. More details there, and I'm sure somebody can find it and link it in chat as well. Someone whose name should not be mentioned is gonna fly me to Seattle, apparently, if I say his name. But I'm already organizing tickets to get to TI3 myself, so I think I'll have to pass on that, Mr. 123. But yeah, we are still waiting. I don't know what to do to fill this pause time. I'm not very good at this whole pause time talking thing, so I'm gonna keep looking at chat and having a bit of a chuckle because it's good fun. And oh yeah, I massacred Dill Pickled's name. I ruined that. That was not my finest moment, that's for sure. So okay, I was touching on Luna versus DK mid a little bit earlier, and I guess I didn't really get to finish my thoughts there. Luna's range kind of sucks, but her last hitting is quite strong. DK, not too shabby when it comes to last hitting on mid either. Run a lot of bottle crows. Shouldn't be too concerned. It does come down to a question of whether or not King J is going to want to try and get a bottle as well, and we have been seeing it a lot on Darkseid these days, so who knows, maybe we'll see some double bottle crow, something along those lines. This chat. Lordy lords. Sorry guys, there's just not a whole lot to talk about when we don't have starting items, when we don't have any actual decisions being made by the players. As far as the draft goes, I still maintain that this silencer is a little bit weird. He is a really big team fighting support, but beyond that, not very strong in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation. The mana burn will actually be very annoying for Juggernaut, so hopefully we'll see him pick up a Bass early on, just in response to that one, which is going to leave him a little bit more vulnerable. He's going to have armor instead of maybe getting a stout shield, since you can't really afford to get both the stout and afford to get a circlet and afford to get a ring of protection to be able to work towards a Bassi. So Banana, with only a single point in Curse of the Silent, should be able to at least force out one of Juggernaut's early spins, and that's going to really reduce his aggression on this bottom lane. Since while Rubik and Jakira do have some good damage, Juggernaut is really the finisher at the moment. So Jessica's actually going to make the decision to go for a stout shield. It is the stock standard against an aggressive, and when you're in a tri-lane versus tri-lane situation, but again, either he's going to get his mana burned by Curse of the Silent, or he's going to be forced to spin and waste the mana, or not get an optimal Blade Fury out. So we shall see. Support's actually making their way up towards top at the moment. We've been seeing quite a bit of offlane Juggernaut, and okay, so hold the phone. It's not going to be. Looks like it's not going to be offlane or an aggressive tri-lane. It's going to be the Spirit Bear doing some pulls for Jessica at bot to try and get some levels going, and then trying to gank from there. So it looks like Invasion maybe just going to be running pulls up on top, trying to establish that early experience lead, and then once they have the levels, then maybe try and go for those pushes. They can try and take a fairly early tier 1 up on top, though King J, who is now... oh no, King J is going to make it a little bit more difficult, obviously. So we are finally unpaused, guys. We are finally underway with this game. And Invasion, they do have a smoke picked up as well, so we might see some aggression coming out from these supports towards mid, especially since DK, no escape, obviously quite vulnerable. And is that pooled regen? That is. So DK is actually off to a really good start on mid. Moo's going to be starting with a full 444 gold to be able to rush towards his bottle, and How just scaring the bear away down at bot. For anybody who thinks that this is really sick bear micro by Snow, I think it's more than likely that it's just being control shared with Juggernaut, and they're going to throw out everything they have to bring this one down. How going to get 100 gold before he even sees the first creep wave? So nicely done there by TongFu, suspecting what was going on. And Jessica now just going to have to try and get experience the old-fashioned way without running any sort of pulls. Our Zerman Urn was an illusion. Just got a Rubik Illu just chilling out at mid. Things are going to go out, but I don't think this is going to amount to anything. Moo's a little bit wary, but he's going to back himself back up onto the high ground, and, well, he's going to be fine anyway. It's just an illusion. Jessica walking in at bot. I mean, still has the spin, so still absolutely fine. Just trading some blows with the supports at the moment. This is the big downside of a melee offlane, that you just can't fight the supports at all. So this means that Shadow Demon can, well, by himself, really keep the Jug out of the lane, and Silencer can be off running pulls. So yeah, going to be a pretty good time for TongFu at bot. Though top lane should be a pretty similar story, and King J in trouble. He's going to be lifted up into the air. This is probably going to be our first blood. No Surge, has the Iron Shell, going to punch Snow one more time. But Bai going to pick up that first blood. So that's going to be a Flying Courier already up for Invasion, more than likely in just a second. And meanwhile, Jessica's now rotating across to mid, had to spin away from that bottom lane, and just wants to come throw out a couple of hits on Moo. Does already have his bottle being shipped out at the moment. So far so good for Invasion in this game. And Jessica just going to come in and soak up a little bit of experience. Dan probably not going to be too unhappy about that one. As far as mid is concerned, Moo is having a pretty tough time. Dan up to 9 for 5, while Moo sitting down at 4 for 1. Though he was harassed by that illusion, and he was harassed by this Juggernaut a little bit, so he hasn't been able to be as aggressive as he maybe could be. The Tournament Urn is going to be a DD picked up by Jessica, and King J with that death, not going to make any more attempts up on the top lane. Probably just going to chill out in the jungle, at least until he has level 3 or 4. Go up and repel the pushes if needed, but Juggernaut just hanging out on mid, comes in to get some CS, keep driving Moo back, and free up this farm for Dan. So a bit of an investment from the Juggernaut, though hopefully Luna will be able to repay it in kind later on in the game. His other option at the moment would be stacking up the Ancients for a later point, but for now just going to continue to apply pressure on the DK, who TongFu are to an extent relying on to get things done in the mid game. Gyrocopter quite good, obviously in that regard, getting towards the mid game and being able to put out good damage, although that is going to be a question of his build, and might be expecting Moo to be there to fight earlier on. Obviously King J as well, off to a rough-ish start, obviously giving away the first blood, but shouldn't be too bad. And Jessica continues to camp out mid. It's still just a duo lane here. How are going to be happily farming away at bot, out farming Snow just slightly at the moment, leading by about 4. So TongFu, they are running duo carry. They do have some pretty good late game potential, though Invasion sort of have that going for them as well. So I think it's really going to come down to Invasion. Just get those early towers. Again, they don't have a ton of team fight. Aside from the Eclipse, maybe some steals from the Rubik. And then once they've got that early tower advantage, they can look to head into Roshan and just start racking up that golden experience at any point. And meanwhile, Invasion just running pull after pull after pull up on top. Looks like TongFu losing a little bit of control of their wave at bot. Gonna give some experience to Jessica. That looks like Hao's actually coming in for a pull. He's got his Bassi turned on, throwing out the flat cannon harassment. Jessica's gonna back himself out. And this tower might be in a little bit of trouble. There is a siege creep here, ready to go. So TongFu actually looking to draw first blood as far as towers are concerned for this game. It is going to make some space for Juggernaut on bot to be able to get some farm, but walks in, gets hit by the Curse of the Silent, and straight back out. Going to pop the early healing ward, so slightly less expensive than popping Blade Fury. We are going to have a TP in now as well from Bai. He's got the level 2 Fade Bolt to try and counter push this, but tower already gone, and Sansheng picking up that last hit there. And Jessica walking in, does need to be careful, going to get hit by that silence, though I think that should be it as far as aggression is concerned on this bottom lane. Though with the siege creep still up, are they going to continue pressuring this? Looks like Hao doesn't have any. Hao doesn't have any intentions on leaving too early. King J goes back up towards top, but looks like just gets hit by a dual breath and forced back out of the lane. Probably going to head back to that jungle. He is now level 4, so the level I had earmarked for him to come back out, but unfortunately cops it on top and now just has to walk all the way back down. And TongFu continuing to pressure. This is nice. It does relieve a little bit of the weight on DK mid. and that gold is going to be a big help for him. Especially since he's having a reasonably tough time, though. Continuous bottle crowing gets him back up to within 6 creeps of the Luna. And the other nice thing for him is that he's melee, so the denies don't actually hurt him nearly as much as they would against a ranged hero. And that means that we don't actually have a huge experience discrepancy on mid, especially since Juggernaut was here earlier, soaking some of it up. So, for now, still looking pretty even, still looking pretty good. As far as gold and experience are concerned, it's dead even in terms of experience and gold. 1k in favor of TongFu, though pretty much all of that just coming from the tower. So yeah, both teams farming very, very evenly. We're just going to keep an eye on item progression, see who's going to be picking up what. I've got some phase boots finished up for Hao, so it is a fairly early aggressive build for him. Looks like he's heading towards a drum as well. And TongFu not really all that slack when it comes to pushing either. Obviously the DK with these early levels are going to be quite potent when it comes to killing off towers. DD picked up for Dan. Sheng is going to rotate his way down, but still not a whole lot of action happening just yet. Both teams kind of happily farming away. I like the decision making from TongFu. Send the wards to the mid so that he can place them. Supports don't need to waste any time. And they're just going to be able to continue running pulls at bot. Out of tangos, however, so they're not going to be able to run any pulls through anymore. And, well, unless Hao has some tangos. Yeah, so Banana's going to pick up those tangos and I think just continue to run pulls through. Meanwhile, Invasion, they're going to go for this tower on mid. And, oh, Ice Path is going to connect on Moo, but he's hidden in the trees. And Invasion with the creep wave coming in. Healing ward already dropped down, DD popped. They're looking to go straight up, and Shang not the best counter pusher on the Shadow Demon. Again, sort of a problem for TongFu's supports right now. They do kind of require either the Darkseer or the Gyrocopter to come down and defend. So Dan's gonna be able to get a little bit of damage down. Healing ward's gonna fade, but that's gonna be about it. Meanwhile, on top, where are my eyes? King J walks straight up, gets lifted, gets hit by, doesn't even look like that much, just a dual breath, and it's going to go down. So another kill picked up by Invasion, and Lone Druid already making some pretty good progress towards his armlet right now. Sorry about missing that kill, guys. Yeah, that was odd. Sorry about that one. So Sansheng going to be able to get a D ward off. I suspect this ward placement spotted by this earlier ward. Fortification will pop on top as Invasion come in for the push. King J hanging quite a ways back at the moment. Sansheng going to come up as well. All the while, Jessica is getting some levels down at bot, though still only level 4 for the moment. Hao convincingly leading the board in terms of farm, though Snow caught on his heels at the moment. And the Moo picks himself up a regen, that's our 8-minute rune. Treads up for him, so again, trailing behind the Luna a little bit, but doesn't really care about this deny discrepancy. And some of this last hit discrepancy is just from the fact that Juggernaut's been in the lane quite a bit. Hao continues to apply pressure at bot, and tier 2 actually in a little bit of trouble. Supports hopefully with TP scrolls ready to go just in case anything too untoward happens. And Banana now up to level 5, so going to have that all-important global silence coming up in just about a pull or two. Rubik meanwhile getting quite close to level 6 himself. And Shadow Demon not irrelevant with level 6 either. Sitting at level 4.5 for the moment. So looks like Dan just picking up a fairly early game oriented item build as well. Looks like just going to be working towards a drum. A bit of aura stack, bit of early damage from the Lone Druid. An Invasion again. I don't think the game plan has changed at all. It's really going to be hard pushing. And they're just trying to get these towers down as early as they can. But they haven't really been able to apply too much pressure just yet. TongFu with some good movement. Sansheng up top going to be getting a little bit more farm out. And King J just continuing to jungle up. Meanwhile, Hao going to blow the call down. Well, pop the call down. Sorry, just to get a bit more farm in the jungle. So I'm going to switch it over to net worth. Just to try and paint a little bit more accurate picture of what's going on. And we don't really care about denies at this point in the game. Speaking of denies, the bottom tier 2 is going to be denied by Jessica, so patience there to be able to clean that one up. Going to walk down and try and get some farm. Pings now go, pings go out from the Dire side. I thought the Radiant might have spotted him, but looks like support's actually going to be smoking to try and back the Juggernaut up. And this might be a kill, especially with level 6. Now finished by Jug. Sentry Ward dropped down, Banana just hiding in the trees. King J without a TP at the moment. Hao does have a TP. Mu ready to TP, and Sangsheng as well. So I think this should be absolutely fine, even if they do go for this dive. However, walking across, Mu's going for the invis. Looks like he should be fine to grab that one. A little bit of warding going on, but supports might actually be in trouble. Hao walks straight in, gonna back himself out, reconsidering his options, trying to see who is actually on the map right now. Gonna realize it's not that many, and now Mu is walking around. TP out, successful by the twin-headed dragon, but unfortunately gonna get caught, and he will be the casualty of this smoke at bot. And clips on mid. Mu's gonna TP in, but I think one of the bounces actually managed to hit a creep there, so Mu walks back out. He's gonna be absolutely fine. Needs to be bottling up on Agi treads, but I think just trying to get back into the safe zone. Yeah, really should be bottling on Agi. It's a little bit inefficient not to, but it's a fairly minor point overall, and probably going to be running a bottle crow or something along those lines fairly soon. Sansheng going to bring the denied towers count for them up to 1, so it's 1 denied tower apiece so far. 2k the gold swing in favor of TongFu, and about 1.5k the experience lead as well. King J making some pretty good progress towards his mech, though not really blistering speed. Given that he does have those 2 deaths and Invasion. Send the 2 supports in mid to try and defend. Again, the initiation is kind of a problem for them at the moment. They really are a lumbering siege engine of a team. When they've got all 3 of their core heroes together, it is fairly straightforward for them to just mow down towers, but the question is taking a favorable team fight, because TongFu, with all of the initiation in their hands at the moment, between Global Silence, the Vacuum, which is only level 1 for the moment, and the call down. King J actually going for a fairly interesting build, and I think just to help counter the pushes if things go badly, picking up an early point in the wall. Homing missile flies out, but Invasion again sort of lacked the tools to get to do too much on mid. The bear is going to get disarmed as well, so not having a great time. Ice Path flies out, is going to connect on King J. Both teams with everybody on mid, just looking for this fight. And TongFu, can they find the opportunity? I think it's their chance to find the opening. Healing Ward's going to be dropped. QMX hiding in dragon form right now, so we've got dragons on both sides. The Mu making his way down towards the bottom. Rune working his way towards the Shadow Blade at the moment. An Invasion straight up. They want this tower. Fortification ready to go, however, and there is a call down. Stun going to go out on Shang. There's the call down. Going to connect on almost everybody. Dan stands his ground. There's the spin, but Mu's still very tanky. The bear disarmed. Dan's going to get hit by the stun, and QMX off to the side. Still hardly any casualties just yet. The Jakira will drop, and Juggernaut shortly to follow. And with that Invasion, Dan's going to try and get the deny off before having to head back. And will be successful in doing so, but Moon giving chase. Plenty of points up in that surge. But actually going to turn his attention back towards the bear, and another 100 gold picked up for TongFu. So, resummon for Snow. They're going to try and defend this one, but QMX out of mana, and looks like that's going to be the end of the push. Hao's going to TP back to bot. So, TongFu, with that fight on mid, bring themselves up to a 1-kill lead. Hao still farming very convincingly at bot, already has his Ogre Club picked up. And the BKB not too long waiting now. There's still a little bit to farm just yet. Jessica, not a whole lot of farm to speak of, though is getting some basic items up. And Shang, just some wards. Snow does have that armlet online, I think he has for a little bit, and Invasion. They really want this tower on mid, but TongFu, they've got a smoked up Sansheng. King J ready to defend as well. Fortification is going to pop. Banana off to the side. And Invasion just going to try and let the bear solo push this one, but it is going to get disarmed. Can they get the deny off? No. Lone Druid able to get the last hit. Demonic Purge thrown out. There's the Vacuum back. The Eclipse is going to pop the Global Silence as well. Call down not really on anyone as Dan runs off to the side, but Mu giving chase. Done ready. And I think that's going to be the end of the Luna. Everybody else for Invasion making their way out. So the early wall sowing a little bit of chaos for TongFu in that fight. Unable to get the deny off on the tower, but pick up one more kill and bring their lead up to 2. And just going to turn their attention towards the top tower at the moment as well. Hao with the remnants of a double damage rune for that fight. So Invasion, it was the really early, really aggressive pushing strategy, but the inability to actually take team fights against TongFu has already left them stalled. And we'll see. I mean, they don't necessarily have split pushing heroes. Bai actually managed to grab his hand, or get his hands on the Elder Dragon form again, so we'll be able to take advantage of the dot for a bit of a push at bot, and Snow making his way down as well. But TongFu, I think everybody's got TPs. Everybody is ready to go and defend bottom, aside from Mu, but the supports can just pass him one at any time. And the tier 1 for a tier 2 trade, not one that TongFu are going to be wholly unhappy with at this stage of the game, especially the bottom tier 1, which they aren't, well, they're not really making too much use of their jungle at the moment, so probably not going to be too unhappy with that. And TongFu is the call going to be to back off. Still playing quite cautiously in this game. Dan's going to try and get some pushing done on mid. The drum already up, and both teams going for quite aggressive wards in one another's jungle, trying to cut off those avenues of farm. And Banana almost with a mech picked up himself, so looks like that's actually going to be a pipe being worked towards by KingJ at the moment. And I guess everything to just to combat both the Eclipse and the damage from the Rubik and the Jakiro, and it's just going to make them even more monstrous in teamfights. So I'm not sure what Invasion are going to be able to do. Again, their lineup is just very one-dimensional right now. Yes, they can push down towers, but until we start seeing some farm come up on these carries, things are looking a little bit dicey. That they are running tri-carry. Juggernaut, when on the offlane, does have a pretty bad start to the game, but not too terrible at flash farming, and obviously his ability to help push down towers helps bring even more gold back into his pockets. So while he's not very rich at the moment, in the very long game, we'll be able to get a couple of core items. We'll be able to get that farm online. Mu on mid has his Shadowblade finished up, so can look to be a little bit more aggressive as far as ganking is concerned, though. Actually, the supports, I mean, Jakiro is quite tanky, and he's actually got a gem picked up as well. Invasion looking to take control of the map. They did get those towers down on mid and on bot, so a fairly easy claim to them for Roshan right now if they can force TPs to another lane, and looks like Dan maybe just considering that at the moment, though. Invasion, I think their buildings are going to be under threat well before Dan is going to be able to apply any pressure top, and again, initiation is a huge problem. Illusion just keeping everybody chased back, and the tower melting like putty, just no problem whatsoever. Dan will probably be able to get, well, yeah, he's getting TPs back now, but a little bit too late, and it's just not a trade for Invasion. Maybe they can now look to push out and head into the Roshan pit, but I mean, TongFu, I don't think they're going to get caught unawares by this, and good defensive warding as well. Going to be difficult for Invasion to get rid of with that gem, at least for now. And looks like we just need to have a very quick pause. So what else have we got going on? Invasion, what did they need to do? Again, I think Roshan is going to be a really big asset for them in this game to try and stabilize this little bit of a golden experience difference that we've got going on. And they have actually managed to start swinging things back in their direction. Since TongFu, for the last couple of minutes, have been the ones going for the wall Invasion, sort of avoiding them for a little bit, just aiming to get more out of the map. And I think maybe it's just defensive positions for them now, especially with that gem pickup. I don't know how well they're going to be able to hold on to it in a team fight, but it means that they can stay mysterious on their side of the map, continue to take advantage of their jungle, their ancients, and hopefully this Roshan as well. Though again, TongFu, good defensive ward, and Invasion actually hunting for wards right now. Pings are going to go out. KingJ, I suspect it's going on. He's almost got his pipe finished up. But how? Problem for him. No TP online. Does have his Black King bar up, however. And Invasion is still playing very, very cautious. The ping goes out. They're going to head into the pit. KingJ, the first on the scene. And Mu just off to the side. Invis and a Shadowblade. You know, just in case, got to have that second escape up. And Banana, this is pretty big. Mech picked up as well. Does KingJ have that pipe finished? Well, he does, but he doesn't have it just yet. An Invasion, they're actually going to go for a smoke. Can they find a pick off here? Just using the Roshan as a little bit of bait. And for the second time this game, we've got both full teams grouped up mid. 5-on-5 smoke. This might be the initiation from Invasion here. Again, it was going to be a universal problem. But at nighttime, and especially with this smoke, they might be able to get somebody in range. The TongFu just a little bit too clustered, and they're going to go for a smoke themselves. Looping around, the line is drawn. Jessica actually going to be the first one on this current trajectory. They do have a sentry and an observer ward, however, so should be spotting. Yeah, they are going to be spotting the TongFu lineup as they walk up an Invasion. They're going to be ready for this one, but Shang is actually a long way away, pinging. Just pinging, I think, for defense, but Mu comes out. Snow, another target. Still very tanky, but the global silence as well. The vacuum back, 2 already dead. Double kill for King J. Dan gonna try and escape. Shang just TPing back to base. Double taps that one. And Jessica now trying to run out. Can pop the Omni Slash for a little bit more survivability, but stunned by Mu. He's gonna drop 3 for nothing. And Invasion, seeing that gank coming, still getting caught by surprise. I think Mu getting surged in. And I mean, basically a max move speed DK, closing the gap before Invasion could do anything. Again, it just looked like Invasion were of two minds about whether or not they wanted to take that fight. Shang was all the way back in their jungle. We saw a ping go out from him, maybe as a sign to retreat. But TongFu, they closed the gap. They're gonna head into the Roshan pit. It's a 5-kill lead for them at the moment, and Invasion getting respawns. Looks like TongFu's just going to back themselves out. King J with some arcanes and a pipe picked up. So despite the tough start that he had in this game, double kill bringing him quite a bit of gold in that last fight. Sancheng with an urn. As far as golden experience are concerned, we're pushing it out to about 7.5k for both sides. And now Invasion going for the smoke. Can they find the pickoff move? Pretty low on mana, does have a regen. And Pai gonna get revealed out of the smoke. Rubik not so speedy anymore after that move speed nerf that he sustained. So TongFu again still just doing exactly whatever they please, and still, despite the gem being up on Invasion, holding the line, preventing any smoke ganks coming in. It's a fresh ward back up. Roshan is still a target for both sides right now, and Snow just working his way towards a basher. And Jessica still with that upgraded boots that looks like treads are going to be coming along shortly. Mu working his way towards a BKB. How, whoever is probably a little bit more interested in, has 3.2k gold up in the bank, really outstripping the Lone Druid in terms of farm. And often Lone Druid at this point in the game, we would expect to see this tier 2 tower down at top, but it just hasn't gone Invasion's way right now. And again, I think it really comes down to that one-dimensional nature of their lineup. They don't have an initiator, they don't really have any ways to start out a fight on the right note, and against the Silencer and the Darkseer, it's pretty much nigh on impossible. I think smoke pickoffs really need to be the name of the game. Though the last two have been unsuccessful, and I don't know if we have any left. Just restocking at the moment. We might have some up on a hero, however. It doesn't appear to be the case. Is it on the courier? It is not. We do have Luna making good progress towards a BKB. Almost has that one finished. So mass BKBs coming up for both sides. But TongFu, they're going to be able to clear up the Dire Ancients. They're cleaning out their own Ancients as well regularly. And just continuing to outstrip Invasion in terms of farm. I mean, normally this really aggressive sort of pushing strategy works out because you get your opponents pinned back into their side of the base, but the inability to teamfight TongFu, and a push is really a dare for the enemy team to come and take a team fight. If the enemy team thinks they can come and win a team fight, then the right decision 100% of the time is always to come and take the fight, win, and then take one of their objectives. The other option is, okay, we lose a little bit of map presence, but we gain immediate farm, and we don't risk anything. But TongFu not feeling like they're risking anything by taking these team fights, and I mean, you can see the result on the map. They've still got tier 2s, an Invasion without a single one to speak of. Mu with the double damage, cleaning up Roshan, absolutely no problem. How, with a Demon Edge picked up, we're probably going to be seeing an MKB or crit, but it could just as well be a Divine if these teamfights continue to go as well as they are. And the Bear on the receiving end of even more hate. Sancheng picking up one more last hit on that one. And a very rich Shadow Demon right now. So, Invasion ready to defend a bot. Dan still without that BKB up just yet. Pretty unfortunate for him. How is going to head back to base to defend this top wave. Just wants some more farm. So we'll probably see TongFu regroup fairly soon. I think they've still got smokes off cooldown. They've still got one, and they've probably still got one up in an inventory or something like that. Yeah, King J, he's ready to go. So TongFu, I think game plan pretty straightforward right now. Invasion just need to make sure that they don't get caught out. Again, they are running Tri-Carry. They can farm their, well, they can attempt to farm their way back into this game. The problem is going to be maintaining map presence. I mean, you can tell a lot from a team standing in the game from where they're able to place wards. And even from, in this case, because they have a gem, where TongFu are able to place wards. So really the effective reach for Invasion right now is just their 3 lanes and a tiny bit of their jungle. Meanwhile, TongFu continue to make use of everything. They're making use of their jungle, they're making use of their Ancients, stacking those ones up, and when they can, ducking over to the Dire Ancients as well. So just this experience and this gold, that train does not stop. 10k the advantage in both of them. And Hal, not going to be the fan favorite, not picking up a Divine so early in the game, going to be picking up that Monkey King bar. Nice safe damage for him. So yeah, right now TongFu, they have 4 minutes up with this Aegis, and they're just going to be pushing straight in on mid. And this time they're the ones daring Invasion to try and take a fight. We're going to see if they can rise to the challenge. Shang's going to come in. Fortification already popped. Illusions scouting out a little bit. Sansheng is slightly further back, but Dan comes in. Ice Path drop. They're trying to stall out as best they can, but the bear comes in. It gets hit by the stun. It gets hit by the catcher. And it gets hit by everything. How? Dropping pretty low, still tanking up the tower. Going to be defensively disrupted right now. Mu walks back up into another Ice Path, and Invasion doing a really good job of driving back TongFu. They are taking damage on the tier 3, however. But Healing Word up to keep them healthy. Now the pipe is going to pop. Mech already used as well. King J considering the surge in. TongFu still just slow rolling this one in Invasion. Still just unable to find an opening. The bear goes in, perhaps looking for an entangle, but TongFu stand their ground. They throw down the wall. Happy to invest whatever they need to try and take this Rax, especially if they can get away with an Aegis. Still up, Bai is going to get stunned up and vacuum back. This is the opening that Invasion were looking for. They get the global silence down. TongFu, Mu, BK beat up, does get bashed. Respawn, however, from Hao, still has the call down, still has everything up, pops the BKB, going to work. Shen's going to drop, killing spree for him, double kill. Jessica's still spinning, can't actually hit the BKB Hao in that point in time. Snow's going to drop, stunned up. Jessica now out of the Omni Slash. And that's going to be GG called from Invasion. Very quick disconnect from Shen. So TongFu, if there were any doubts about their direct invite to the TI3 qualifiers, hopefully this has helped to assuage some of them. So taking a very convincing match, 27 minutes, though feels a little bit longer given that we were supposed to start an hour and 5 minutes ago. So next game is going to be up in 25. That's going to be Rattlesnake versus Neolution International. So I'm going to be back with that. Wait, which match am I covering? Not actually sure. I'm going to be covering whichever one Beyond the Summit 2 isn't covering, so I will confirm with those guys, and I'll get back to you. Though at the moment I have it earmarked for Rattlesnake versus Neolution Int. So TongFu, smart draft from them. Invasion, again, I think a little bit one-dimensional in terms of what they were going for, and just couldn't take those team fights to actually get the objectives down. Dan's going to stay connected for a little bit of the game. It's going to auto-complete fairly soon. I think both carries are going to continue to push, at least for a while. So I've been Bezkip. This is the AMD Dota 2 Premier League. For those of you wondering where we are as far as this tournament is concerned overall, so the way that this works is there are qualifiers for each region in SEA. Then a couple of teams advanced from each of those qualifiers. The teams that qualified advanced into the regional qualifier finals, where they played against the winners from all of the other qualifiers. 8 teams advanced from that, and then those teams advanced to the main event. Those 8 teams played one another in 4 best-of-1 matches to determine the top 4. And those top 4 are now facing up against all of the invited teams in the main event. Round 2 is going to be the last of our round 2 is going to be the last of our best-of-1 sets, and then after that we're going to proceed into best-of-3s and whatnot for the rest of it. If you guys want any more details, there is the link just below for the coming up will take you to everything about the next matches. So I've been Bezkip. This is the AMD Dota 2 Premier League. I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. If you have any feedback for me as far as my casting is concerned, drop it in chat or send me an email at basicdota@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm always looking for constructive feedback to try and improve. But that's going to be it from me, at least for the next 20 minutes when I'm going to be back very, very soon with more Dota action. Hope to see you guys there.